We're back on Liquid Lunch, and thanks for staying with us. Great afternoon today, and we're now in with Sue Latcher, who's here from Sue Latcher and Associates. Sue is a coach, consultant, and workshop facilitator. But today she's here with a special treat, and that is her forte, which is Kolbe index profiling. I was fortunate enough to have had one last week and a resulting session with you in a PDF, and I mentioned that earlier in the show. So let's just get into this whole, what is Kolbe about? And I mentioned earlier that who had started it, and her father was a psychiatrist and she was a journalist. So tell me a little bit about what is this assessment, how it differs from others, and why it was created.
Okay. The Kolbe index is the only known index that measures instincts. So there's other assessments that measure like personality, that's your preferences. So there's, if your listeners have and viewers have seen Myers-Briggs, True Colors, DISC, those are popular ones that measure how we feel about things. So those can change over time. But what Kathy Kolbe has created in this Kolbe index is really about what are our striving instincts. They're innate. So if you think of a cat and a mouse, right, you don't have to train a cat to chase a mouse. It has instincts to do that. And so we as humans have instincts as well. And that's what this Kolbe index measures. It's an extremely powerful assessment.
Okay, so what is the advantages of having this information when you complete a Kolbe assessment? What can it do to improve your life?
It's really about telling you who you really are. We all come into the world with these instincts, and we're going to leave the world with these instincts. And so the closer that we stay to being true to who we are, the easier things come to us, right? So there's less procrastination, you feel like you're sort of in your groove, you're in your flow. If I can tell you a little bit of how I came about, would that be okay?
Yes.
16 years ago, I was given this assessment, and I thought, oh, okay, isn't this nice? This is sort of me, and I clipped it in a binder. 10 years later, I was in a chapters, and I was looking and I thought, oh, wow, Kathy Kolbe, I remember that assessment. So I went home, and I thought, I have to have that binder someplace. And I dug it up, and I read my assessment, and I could not believe how bang on that was for me. Now, I've been coaching for about 13 years, and I actually fell into my ideal career path. But how many people try to be a square peg fitting into a round hole, right? They're trying to mold themselves.
Most of us do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, Kathy Kolbe said that about 20% of people are actually in flow of the career path that's ideal for them.
Right, and the rest
really
of the people
small.
are not doing the right thing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because most people, they just, they need a job, whatever job they offer to them, they go and they work on it. They work at it for years, and maybe completely not, not them.
Or also, I think they fall prey to social conditioning by teachers, by parents, who kind of mold them or steer them away from their true self or anything like that.
You should become a lawyer, you should become an accountant.
Yes, you should
right?
have an easy life. You should, you should, but not about really what you are. So can you speak to us a little bit about that and how your test can determine who we really are?
I'm just going to hold this up. This is actually
Can we get a glimpse of this on
Kolbe
camera?
index.
Okay.
This is my result, and actually Janette has the same MO as I do.
Yeah, it was
and so
uncanny. I never meet people like myself.
That was it was a real easy assessment to do, but there's actually 4 action modes that she's identified. The first one is fact finder, and that's how we deal with information and facts. The next one is a blue bar called follow through, and it's how we think plan, sequential, from the beginning, middle, and end, sort of timelining things. Quick start is really how we deal with risk, innovation, change, like last minute things that come up. Like there was a little bit of stuff that happened before I came on, and I was joking because we're all going to kick in with our quick start.
Right.
An implementer is actually tools. It's not like about implementation doing it. It's like the hands-on stuff. So when I'm walking up to the building here, there's a lot of construction going on. So you'd hope that a lot of those guys would have really good implementer because they're using their hands day in and day out. Yeah. Well, if I could share one little case with you.
Sure.
We're talking about falling into the wrong career. There was a client that came to me, and he was really very, very stressed out. And he was an 8 in this fact finder, meaning that he likes a lot of details, a lot of information. And a 2 in the implementer, a 2 in the hands-on stuff, meaning he's not really great with his hands, right? Like, keep that person away from stuff, they're going to break it.
That's like me, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Well, me too, and Janette. So anyway, this gentleman had actually gone into creating his own chain of massage therapy clinics. And he was a massage therapist, and he got into this. And how it happened, he was hurt on the job, and they told him, you're never going to be able to work again. And he went all over the place trying to find a way to heal his body. And he found that massage therapy really did it for him. He goes, darn, this is, I'm going to take this out in the world. Why should people suffer? So he learned to be a massage therapist. He opened up clinics. And so here's a guy doing the hands-on stuff, total opposite to his grain. What was happening in his business is it was failing, and he had consultant after consultant giving him more and more information, and it was never enough information. So this poor guy's business was failing. So by just having this quick assessment with me and a one-on-one consultation, it was like a huge epiphany for this guy.
So what did he do?
He needed someone, he needed a partner or somebody to say, enough facts, Bob, already, enough of the hiring of consultants, make a decision. What are you going to do with your business? To knock him out of that continual searching for more information. And it was so validating for him because he had strived against his way of doing things for so many years with his hands. And that's what I was talking with Janette about, is usually when people get this assessment, it's like it's such a validation. It's like, wow, I thought I was broken. I thought there was something wrong with me. And it's just like, this is who I am.
And it's not just knowing about who you are, which obviously, it's fundamental to know who you are, but you told me and you expressed to me that knowing this information can actually help you in every situation in your life, every relationship. And you were talking to me about potential business partner relationships, even life partners, or even relationships with your children, which I think you told me yourself that this assessment helped you have a better relationship with your daughter, understanding who she is. So would you like to speak about that?
The reason I'm here today is because I am very passionate about the Kolbe Index, because it literally saved my marriage. Because my husband is what's called a mediator. He's a guy that really likes to see both sides of the coin. So when I was dating him, I'd have a bit of an argument with my parents, and Jeff would say, wow, your parents, they really do have a point. And I'd be saying, like, hey, how come you're not sticking up for me, right? With my daughter, I'm a 7 in quick start, which is quite high. I like the risk sort of thing. Nicole is a 3, so she likes stability. She likes things the same. So I would always be pulling her last minute to things. Let's do this, let's do that. Or if there was a lot of changes in school, she'd really get stressed out. And that's why, for parents, I think this is such a critical piece. When I had Nicole take this index, I already started seeing things in her report card. And the biggest wow I get is when I coach a parent and a child. Like, there was one little guy, he was a 1 in fact finder, meaning that, he's not going to fit into the school system. The school system is built for high fact finding, high follow through, like each day is the same. And this little guy felt like it was such a wow for him to say, like, wow, I'm not broken. Yeah, you really get me. And his dad could walk away having some tools to say, okay, this is how we can get to the same place but in a different way.
How did it save your marriage?
It's understanding each other.
Right.
Understanding each other. Couples can have very different ways of doing things, and there can be a lot of assumptions that one person is doing something in order to sort of aggravate or egg on somebody, but that's really just an innate need they have. Like, for example, even like, let's use an example of a vacation, right? Someone wants to go and travel, and it's a couple. Someone that's really high in that blue bar, which is follow through, sequential, likes the whole trip all planned out. Okay, we're going to go here and here and here and here and here.
So there's absolutely no room for
spontaneity, right? And so there's a lot of friction because the other partner feels so boxed in, like, oh, come on, where's the fun in this? Or let's do this the last minute.
Or something comes up that you want to include in the trip that you didn't know about before, and you just want to have to be able to throw that in as something that was like a point of interest that may have been overlooked when you were looking up the sightseeing or whatever of a particular place to do when you get there.
Right. And can you imagine, like IKEA? We're all familiar with IKEA. You know, it comes with a box and you put everything together, and you have someone that is like a 2 in the hands-on stuff, right? I've heard so many couples that are both low on this, like this hands-on stuff, trying to put an IKEA piece together, yelling at each other. There's some pieces that are missing on the floor, why things are not broken. And I was telling Janette, with men, this is so validating because it's expected, like, I'm a guy, I should know how to fix things, I should be the handyman. There's a lot of assumptions, but not everyone has that knack with their hands. Like I used the earlier example.
Here, honey, look, this explains why I don't do anything around the house.
Or go on the internet or go on the Yellow Pages and hire someone. Yeah.
So based on this assessment then, like, do certain people belong together? Like, you know, if you're registering high, I think it's important to say that you do have a questionnaire to fill in, and I guess you score anywhere from 0 to 10 on each category. So if, let's say, somebody's, I'm sorry, what are the 4 categories again?
The fact finder, follow through, quick start, and implementer.
Okay, so let's say someone like you and I, possibly David, has the same personality type. We're high quick start and we're high fact finder. Who do we belong with? Who should we be in relationship with? Who should we be in business with? You know, is it the polar opposite, the yin yang thing, or, you know, who makes us who makes us complete?
This is what I love about this whole concept, is because with love you always follow with your heart, right? And it's about understanding who that other person is and having compassion and humor. And it can also be really good when you understand the differences, that there's no stagnation in the relationship. Like one person can do that sort of wild and crazy stuff and the other person is doing all of that planning. In business, this is really powerful, because if you have somebody that may be the opposite of you, I use the example of Bob, the massage therapist. If he had a partner that was really low on that detailed stuff, he would have kicked Bob out of that a long time ago, saying, you know, hey, enough of the consultants already, Bob. Let's make a decision to move the business forward. And I actually have had people come to my workshops or one-on-one consulting with me that have come in, business partners, not even talking, saying, okay, now I get this. Go back into their business and totally restructure it. And
okay, so specifically, like, because let's just give a real illustration here. You and I are quick start and fact find, right? What can somebody who is high on the other 2 areas, what can they do for us? Like, how can they help us be better people, or better who we are? Not just in understanding us, but you know what I mean, like in grounding us, or bringing us to a different level, or helping us see things in a different vein, or anything of that nature.
Well, with the high follow through, we are sort of in the middle of that. People that are high follow through need closure. They'll make sure that everything's done, right? We're the idea people. Like, we come up with ideas and we're going to do this and this and this, but we don't have a need for closure, so a lot of things get dropped. Especially with the quick start action mode, it's like there's this innovation, change, risk, on to the next thing. I sort of call it chasing the shiny object. So someone that, say, high in follow through will bring that person back saying, hey, you have to finish what you start, or what's up with this project. So it's a real necessity. This is really powerful, even in a small company, to have someone else on your team that is not a clone of you, right? That can keep you on track with things.
I suppose that there may be a need to, in some cases, to develop. I mean, I realize this is telling you, look, you have certain strengths, capabilities, run with that, you know, it's okay, you're not broke. But at the same time, if you're a business person and you can't you don't have a partner or you can't afford to hire somebody, you may need to say at some point, all right, if I'm going to stay in business, I'm going to need to learn to follow through on some things. It's not about hiring, like coming up with more and more ideas, right? You could maybe use it to say, okay, you could, because we have to be well-rounded to some extent, like, don't you think? Or
Well, it's really about staying as close as we are to our way of doing things. And there's all sorts of tricks that I use when I'm coaching people about. It may be leveraging technology. It may be using a virtual assistant. It may be bartering, being a little bit more savvy and creative if you are not
Right.
necessarily able to afford someone, like full-time to help you.
right.
So it's about really staying true to who you are, though, because as a coach, too, with goal setting and working with clients through the years, that's why this is so validating, because it isn't one size fits all. It's like finding out, this is this person, this is their MO. How can they get to the same place? Just a different way, right?
Is it also, not about beating yourself up for what you're not, but rather celebrating who you are and what you are?
Right. That's exactly it.
Like, I used to feel guilty all the time, and I think this is sort of apropos. I have to let certain things go because I can't become overwhelmed with everything given my schedule and what I want to achieve and what I want to achieve for my clients. So you mentioned using a virtual assistant, for example. I went that route because I used to try and do everything myself. And I realized that that's not helping me, because it's frustrating me, and it's really not helping my clients. So neither one of us are getting the best end results by me trying to be everything to all people.
Yeah. And that's why I like to answer, like to go back to Dave's comment, like it's so important to stay as true and as close to this as possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I agree that you have to develop you have to work on your strengths. There's no question. If you want to, become self-actualized or the best person that you can be, you have to nurture those strengths. But at the same time, I mean, we do have certain things. There are elements of our job, of our lives, things that we have to do. Okay? And I think it's good at some point when you recognize, this task is holding me back, and it's something that I can push off to somebody else, but there's going to be, I think, some things in life that you have to do.
Yeah, and it's not a cop-out, because we can all do anything, right?
If we have to.
If we have to, right? I've coached a young guy that was very low on the facts, very low on the follow-through, very, very high on this risk and innovation, on the quick start, and he was a bookkeeper. Young guy in his 20s.
Right.
And that's what I do, is a lot of career counseling too, right? I love working with younger people too, even people that are in their mid-40s, mid-50s that have been maybe transitioning out of the corporate world or let go, and it's like a new beginning. This is really helpful to sort of get, this is what I'm really great at, some career options to perhaps look at. Going back to this young guy, it's like he always wanted to be in real estate, like a real estate investor. And it's like when that came out of the relationship, like the coaching conversation, it was like, wow, I'm going to start working towards transitioning out of being the bookkeeper, accounting end of things into the real estate. Now, can you imagine if that poor young guy would have got stuck in that career path? He would at best be mediocre because he just didn't have the knack. I mean, he'd acquire the IQ and the training, but it just would come really difficult. It'd be very difficult for him through his whole life.
And moreover, you wouldn't be living a very satisfactory life, right? Because every day you have to get up and you have to be somebody or do something that you really didn't want to be. That means you kind of forego the dream that you really had, that you kind of feel innately is you. And I think it's pretty sad when somebody has to live their whole life being something that they're really not meant to be, in a way, another person that they're kind of forced to be, right? I mean, how could you ever be totally content and happy that way?
So what's involved in is this a survey? How is it done online? What's the process?
It's an online assessment, 36 questions, that you can get directly from Kolbe.com.
That's it?
That's all
That's
it
not
is.
too bad.
10
You
minutes.
get it immediately, Janette. And the main thing is that I want to stress to your viewers and those listening is I got my result, and I had it in my binder for 10 years because I didn't fully grasp the power of it. And I highly encourage someone to give me a shout and to call, because this does not change. This does not change over time. I've had people that have said, you know, I've gone through a lot of life change. I've taken some personal development programs, done a lot of work on myself, been divorced, had career change, you name it. I need to retake it, and it's come out the same. So it's a really great one-time investment to really fast-track that sort of self-awareness piece.
Okay, so speaking of the investment and working with you, how can people work with you? I know you have workshops, you have one-on-one.
Yeah.
How can people work with you, and how can they reach you?
Okay, listeners and viewers can reach me. My website is Sue Latcher, like paint, but it's spelled LACHER.com, or my phone number is 905-853-5778. And what I want to do is I want to offer your listeners a very special offer. Usually I charge $250. It includes the Kolbe Index, which is $50 US to take. But I'd like to take $100 off, so $150, including the index, and a 1-hour coaching session to really create self-awareness and to not be a square peg fitting in a round hole, and how this can help you in your career, your relationship with your kids, your business, your life.
Okay, so does this offer have a limit on it, like today only or till the end of the week? How, if the viewers want to get in touch with you and take advantage of this particular offer?
As long as your viewers mention that they have come from that channel, they're a that channel viewer, right?
Liquid Lunch, yes,
Yeah.
okay. from
Liquid
today?
Lunch, yeah,
from
that
August
I'll honor
16th.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. That's an amazing offer.
But don't wait,
Thanks.
people. Be a quick start.
Yeah.
Don't procrastinate.
Take
Coming down with the
advantage.
technology, terminology.
And just in closing then, because I don't know if we covered as much of this as I would have liked, can you tell me a little bit more about Kathy Kolbe and who she is and why she created this?
Kathy Kolbe actually had studied instincts for over 30 years and developed this assessment. She has severe dyslexia, and her dad was E.F. Wunderlich, and he created a personality test that was used in the 40s for hiring. And she did not like that people were not hired into a position because they didn't fit this sort of IQ model. She had created lots of learning tools for children about how to think differently, because she had to deal in the real world with her dyslexia. And then all through that, she's brought it out into the corporate world as well. So she's worked with CEOs, she's worked with, this has been studied at Stanford and Harvard, University of Arizona, UCLA. It's validated. If anyone's high in the fact finder bar, you can go on Kolbe.com. There's tons of validity studies that they can download. But she's just an amazing woman, and her crusade is really to get it out to kids early, to get it in the school system. Like, wouldn't that be great?
Oh, that's okay. That's great. And any parting words? I know you have workshops coming up.
I have a workshop tomorrow, which is coming up very soon.
Well, so how can we take advantage of that and participate? Our viewers can participate in that.
If they call me today, they need to call me today or email me today to get in for that workshop. That's tomorrow. It's at the airport area, and it is a blast. It's
And what
2.5
time is that?
hours of fun, 6:30 to 9:30.
Oh, tomorrow night. So they still have time to get to you.
Yeah, but they still have to do the Kolbe Index too.
Oh, of
so-
course. Okay, so say again your website and your phone number then.
Okay, it's www.suelatcher, that's LACHER.com, and my phone number is 905-853-5778.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for
Thank
coming in
you.
today, and I want to encourage everyone to take advantage of this Kolbe assessment. It's very, very important to know who you are and what you should be doing with your life and how to interact with other people. And thank you very much, and we're going to take a
Thanks.
short
Very
break.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
And we're going to
too.
come back with Brenda Borenstein of Organized Zone talking to us about the issue of hoarding and what can be done about it.